I used to be a nice guy, and let me tell you, it doesn't work. It sucks, and you will always finish last, because as long as you put other people first and you put yourself last constantly, your need constantly last, you're always going to abandon yourself in need for other people validation, to be liked, and so on. And when you do that, you abandon yourself every single time. So how could you ever win? This is something I had to learn the hard way. And just like a lot of people, a lot of clients that I'm helping with, this is something that I notice is very prevalent in our culture right now. A lot of guys, a lot of men are being too nice because they've been brought up in that way, feeling like there's something wrong with me, I'm not likable, I need to, receive that validation, that love, that approval from externally, right? And in order to get that, I need to be nice, I need to be friendly, I need to listen, I need to, meet other people's needs. And when I do that, they will love me, they will take care of my needs, and so on. All of this comes from a place of insecurity. All of this comes from a place of like, something's wrong with me, therefore I cannot be my true self, therefore I need to appear in a certain way, I need to be liked, I need to be like a chameleon, where I'm just gonna be whoever they expect me to be. And it's the worst thing you could ever do, because every time you do that, you abandon yourself a little bit more, and you lose that sense of who you really are again and again and again. So instead of saying no, fuck you, I won't, you say yes, please let me do it for you, right? And so before you know it, that voice inside of you that represents who you really are fades away, and you end up being passive aggressive, you end up being angry, you end up being alone and isolated, and you feel like, I'm doing all these things, and why is it not freaking working? It's not working not because of other people. You've put yourself in those covert contract and covert situation, and like those weird toxic relationships. You attract those people because of who you are. The only way to get out of this, just like I've learned it in my in my life, in 2018, when I came out of a long relationship, and I truly started to understand how being too nice really affected me in the most negative way. Not only it affected the relationship in a negative way, but it really affected my confidence, my self-esteem, who I was, and I was at the lowest in my life because I was simply tolerating negative behavior, toxic behavior, being taken in a certain way, and I was constantly trying to appease, constantly trying to overgive, constantly trying to give so much, and losing myself more and more and more, to the point where I was wondering, who am I, what is happening, and how did I end up in this freaking situation? But at the same time, through this pain and through this situation, I started to really be able to break free from that, simply because I decided to take responsibility and to make sure that nothing like this will ever happen again. And so the process there is a journey of taking responsibility and looking at yourself and asking, how am I creating this? I can tell you that at the root, for me at least, and working with my clients, I see the pattern. At the root, it's all about self-worth and shame, because when you are feeling insecure about who you are, and when you have that nice guy syndrome, there is that underlying shame that tells you basically, I'm not enough as I am. And it leads to all those strategy, all that overcompensating, all that chasing, all that neediness. Yeah, whether it's for woman in a certain way, whether it's for money, whether it's for power, whether it's just to appear bigger and better and to be liked and so on, which is always going to leave you overexposed. Because as long as you have that underlying belief that somehow you're not enough as you are, and that the only way is to meet other people's needs and to go above and beyond to rescue the damsel in distress or whatever, right? You will always forget yourself along the way, because it's coming from that place that I'm not enough. So the process of healing here and becoming who you really are is to realize and to go deep inside, uncover what is it that happened that made you this way, that created those beliefs, those patterns, right? Often it starts in your childhood with your parents, with your teacher, with your friend, and then teenage, and then life has so many experiences that conditions us in that way. But it doesn't matter, because you can overcome that, but you need to start to understand the concept, because awareness is key in this process of growth and this process of change. As long as you're not aware of it, it's easy to blame, it's easy to point the fingers to someone, something, sometime outside of you to explain your situation. It's always going to be somebody else responsible for your life. So when you go and you start to dig down to what do I really feel about myself? Why am I feeling that anxiety, that shyness, that social prejudice, that embarrassment, that self-consciousness, that need to always be validated, that need to always justify myself? Like, why am I having all these things? And when you're able to identify those things and you start to, release the emotional charge and the belief and those experiences, and you gain the freedom, and you start to change your relationship with yourself, to go back to your core, to who you really are, who you're really meant to be. And you do that gradually, step by step, not only to mental work and emotional work, but also to action, showing up, taking action, saying no when you mean it, putting boundaries, learning about all those things that you may not be able to do right now, putting your needs first, all these type of things. When you're able to again and again and again show up this way, I'm telling you, it makes a radical transformation in your life. It's not an overnight journey. It's not a comfortable journey, but it is a life-changing journey. So if right now you're noticing that you're constantly seeking external validation, that you're constantly overgiving in your relationship, that you're constantly looking for somebody to rescue or save, because when you're in this situation you feel valued, you feel seen, you feel useful, or you're constantly trying to be perfect and constantly avoid making mistakes, saying the wrong thing, all these type of things, then realize that the problem is not people outside of you, although it sounds like they're contributing. Yes, you're attracting, you're creating that thing in your life, but the reality, the true cause of those experiences is in you. And as long as you don't break that pattern between yourself, in your mindset, in your subconscious mind, in your identity, you will keep on living on that lifestyle, and you will keep on finishing last, and you will keep on abandoning yourself, because that's all you know, and that is the paradigm from which you operate. So you're gonna need to make radical change in your life, in your expression, how you show up, how you see yourself, how you talk about yourself, and your sense of self-worth. And when you do that, you gain the freedom to be your most expressive self. And it's a journey. And so I invite you to reflect on this. If you notice that you're being too nice, and if you're frustrated with that, and it's creating anger in you, and it's creating that unfulfillment, take responsibility for your life. Start looking inside. Start looking at your relationship with yourself. How do you really feel about yourself? What are you hiding? What are you insecure about? What is it that you're no longer willing to tolerate in your life? And where can you start making that change? If you don't know where to start, again, there is a free discovery call down in the description. You can book a call with me, and together we can look at that. And together we can look at this pattern in your life and create a plan to transform your life. Let me know what you think down in the comment, guys. As always, hit that subscribe button. I will see you next time. Be well.